Hello, my name is Chris Nystrom, and I will be presenting a demonstration of IBM InfoSphere BigInsights. The demonstration agenda will include an outline of the demonstration steps. I'll create a BigInsights project in Eclipse. I'll create and populate a JSON file with application logic, test the application with the BigInsights cluster, publish the application in the BigInsights catalog. I'll deploy the application onto the cluster and discuss scheduling and run options. And finally, I'll create a Big Sheets workbook with results and design a pie chart. So let's begin the presentation. This demonstration will introduce the BigInsights application development lifecycle and describe how to create, publish, and deploy your first simple application with minimal effort. The application I'll build will use JSCL, a query and scripting language that uses a data model based on JSON to retrieve data about the IBM Watson Resource Project from a social media site, manipulate that information, and store the results in the distributed file system. Many of the BigInsights application development techniques described in my demo are not specific to JSCL. Indeed, the BigInsights tools and samples can help you create a variety of applications and software components involving Java, MapReduce, Hive, Pig, and text analytics. Very good. So I'm going to start out within Eclipse. The Eclipse IDE has been preloaded with BigInsights tooling for this particular demonstration. In the Eclipse environment, I have my task launcher over here. I'm going to create a new BigInsights project. And I'll call that project Get Messages. And now I see my Get Messages project over here in my Project Explorer. The next step is to create and populate a JSON file with the application logic. Remember, this application logic will reach out to a social media site and extract information, in this case about IBM Watson, and actually save that information to the BigInsights Hadoop distributed file system. So from the Develop tab, I'm going to select Create a BigInsights program. That program will be a JSCL script. And the parent folder will be my Get Messages project. And the file name will be my JQL And now it prompts me for the JSCL code, so I have that in a text editor. I previously created that, so I'll copy that. You can see that this particular code will query Facebook for recent messages about IBM Watson. So I'll copy that and paste that here. Okay. That information will then be transformed into a defined schema and published to my BigInsights Hadoop file system in this particular directory structure. So I'm going to save my file. And now we're going to actually test the application. So to do that, we're going to utilize my current connection to my BigInsights server, which I can see down here in the left hand side in the corner. If this wasn't already in place, you'd have to actually create a connection to BigInsights. So now I'm going to go to my task launcher And within the development tab, I'm going to create a configuration and run a BigInsights program. So in this case, it will be a JQL type, and I'll select my project and my script. The execution will be on a BigInsights cluster, and I'll simply apply that. Hit run, and now I can take a look at the results here in my console. So it's reaching out to the social media site, collecting the information, and publishing that information. Okay, looks like that was successful. What I can also do is I can launch my IBM InfoSphere BigInsights web console and go to Files, and under User BI Admin, I'll refresh this, and I should now see a Facebook folder. And there it is. And within the Facebook folder, I can see my file. Okay, so you can see that it was created today, and there's a date and timestamp. Alrighty, so let's move back to Eclipse. So now that we've successfully run the particular Jekyll code, the next step is to publish this application into the BigInsights catalog. So from the Publish and Run tab, I'm now going to select Publish a BigInsights application. So I'll choose my project, my current BigInsights server, okay. I'm going to create a new application, and I'll call that Get Messages. The application type will be Workflow, and I'm going to create a new single action workflow XML file. In this case, it will be JQL. It will be a script, and I'll put in that file name. There are no parameters at this point, and now I can see that everything has been input correctly. I'll then finish and publish that application. It tells me that it was published successfully. And the next step is to deploy and run that application on the cluster. So to do that, we'll now move to the BigInsights web console. And here you can see that I have several tabs at the top. I'm going to go into Applications. And under the Manage link, look for my Get Messages application. So to find it quickly, I can just use the search. I'll type in GET. Let's see if we can find that. There it is. Okay, So the current status is that it has not been deployed, which makes sense. We've just published that. So we're going to deploy that application on the cluster. All right. So now it has a status of deployed. We can now execute that. So let's go to the execute link. I'll just type in the name. There it is. So now that's been deployed, I can execute this at any point in the future. I can run it or I can schedule it. I can add parameters. So you see we have a scheduling component. Okay. And then we have the history of all runs here at the bottom. Very good. So at this point, we've walked through the process of creating a new application utilizing the Eclipse IDE, incorporating a JAQL file, reaching out to Facebook, social media site, extracting information about IBM Watson, and then publishing that to the IBM BigInsights Hadoop file system. We validated that it was there, and then we published that as an application, that whole process as an application to the BigInsights catalog to be run at some future time. Let's actually analyze some of the data within that file. So to do that, I'm going to go to the Files tab. I'll select the output file that was generated. And it's just going to simply show me, in a text format, the data from that run. I'd like to actually view that in Big Sheets, which is the spreadsheet style tool that allows me to analyze information and chart information. So I'm going to select Sheet here. It's now going to give me an option as to how I would like to separate that information. So I'm going to go to my line reader and select comma separated. Don't include headers because I don't have a header. All right, and now I'm going to save that as a master workbook. I'll call it Get Messages. And what it's going to do is it's going to bring me into the Big Sheets environment, show me the information, so I can see essentially some information around, where it came from within Facebook, the content of the information around IBM Watson, and whether it came from a status, a link, a photo, a video, etc. What I'd like to do now is create a quick chart that shows me essentially the proportion of records that came from status versus link versus photo. So I'm going to add a chart. In this case, I'm going to include a pie chart, and it will be based on header 5. And this pie chart will indicate what percentage of the information came from the various types within Facebook. So I can see 56 came from the status, 32 came from links, 8% video, 4% photo. Okay. Very good. So this completes the demonstration of IBM InfoSphere BigInsights. And to just review what we've done, we showed you how we could use the development environment to create a new application, publish that application from Eclipse to the BigInsights catalog, and then avail that application or deploy that application for future execution. And then we introduce you to Big Sheets, which allows us to analyze that information as well as chart that information within the BigInsights web console. Thank you very much.